Well, hey there. Thanks for joining us today. Today's a very special day where we are starting a conversation. And in recent weeks, you have obviously heard about the Black Lives Matter movement that has really swept around the globe. And we wanted to be a church and be a student ministry that doesn't just react or just put up one post or does our part for one day and that's it. But we wanted to start a conversation so that it's a continually changing habits that happen in our life and in the lives to come. And so I've invited Dominique and Lisa, we leaders with us today to shed some light on this issue and just to talk about this, talk about their experiences, talk about what we can do as a people, as students, how we can affect change and see this happen. So I just wanted to begin with one thing, with one verse found in Revelations chapter 7, verse 9. It says this: "After this I looked, and there before me was a great multitude that no one could count, from every nation, tribe, people, and language, standing before the throne and before the Lamb." See, dealing with racism, God has created us in his image. Every nation, every tribe, every language stands before the throne of God. And to actually oppress and to actually have this racism in our culture, I think is actually a sin against God. It's a sin against what he's created. And we see this evidence, and so God calls us to bring justice and calls us to stand up. You know, Martin Luther King once said, we'll remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. And we want to make sure that we're not silent as a church and make sure we're not silent as a people. And so we're going to have this conversation today. So thank you, Dominic. Thanks, Lisa, for coming. And thanks for, just sharing today about your experiences. So maybe I'll start with you, Dominique. Why don't you just tell us a little about growing up, your life, your experiences, and how have you seen racism in your life or in the lives around you?
Yeah, so obviously, my name is Dominique. Most of you know me, but I really want to talk about my first race experience. Growing up, being Black child in Burlington, you're not really many Black people around, obviously. So I'm 22 now, so it's been a while of being kind of feeling like the only person in Burlington, really, that has this skin color. Like, my close friends, all white. Representation around me was never, there's no Black community. There wasn't many Black artists I could see. It felt like it was just me. So, like, even representation, I think, is so important to, like, really understand, like, who's in front of you, the images that you're seeing, how that feels, how that makes you feel, like, as a person. Are you accepted in this culture? Are you accepted in this community? So I think representation is something that is just really, really is missed, I think. My first race experience, I was in grade 2. In grade 2, you're like 6 or 7 or something. So, like, to say that was my first time experiencing discrimination, experiencing marginalization at such a young age is so sad. It really is. Like, it shouldn't have been a thing that I saw that young or experienced that young. A kid, I will forever remember his name. I'm not going to say it, but he just told me plainly, like, to my face, he's like, "I don't like you because your skin color is different. It resembles poo. It's dark. It's not nice." And, like, threw sand at my face, threw sand in my hair. He was a complete butt. Like, it's not like him at all. And from that time, like, my mom also had to constantly tell my sister and I, like, hey, this is reality, unfortunately, and people are not going to like you because of your color. As a kid, you don't want to hear that, and it's not right to hear that. But that was our reality. That's something we had to face. I'm sure, Lisa, you too. Like, it's unfortunately a conversation we had to have really young, and because we were Black, we had to have it. White people, no offense, but, like, you guys didn't have to worry about your skin color. You didn't have to think about, hey, if I'm going to step out of my house today, am I going to be looked at different? Do I feel different? Do I have to be aware? Do I have to, like, think about how my actions are going to affect other people in a negative context? Like, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. What's your experience? Like, I'm sure it's something similar.
Well, yeah, totally. Like, I'm from North Burlington. I mean, we have, like, nobody.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so, like, I want to be a teacher, right? So I'm in school to be a teacher. And if you look at my classes, like, I'm the darkest person.
Right.
Like in a class of 400 people, it's just me. So, and you can't really, they tell us you can't be what you don't see, right? So I'm kind of having to like pave the way just in my own education. Seeing the teachers that I had in elementary school, I had almost twice as many because I did French immersion. And I had one black teacher in all of elementary school.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
In high school, I don't think I had any black teachers, which is kind of sad. Like I had other teachers who were people of color, but no one that actually was me.
Right.
But I noticed for me that the more racist encounters that I had happened the more that I got older, or happened more frequently as I got older. So just like one that I can remember happened last year. I had a solo in band, and this trumpeter who, I don't know him. He's like this older guy, maybe like a parent's age. So I guess not that old. But anyway, he comes up to me and is asking or trying to talk to me about my solo that I had. And I told him that I was working on it and thanked him. And then he says, "Where's your accent from?"
I hate that so much. It's actually so annoying.
I know. I was like, "I'm from Burlington." And he's like, "Really?"
No offense, you say y'all quite often.
Okay,
so
I do.
You do say y'all. I have to say that people think you're from Texas, y'all. So I don't know where that comes from, but
Yeah, I don't know. It's just y'all are there.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know. And he looks at me and says, "You know what? I was detecting Jamaican. I have 0% Jamaican in me.
Right.
I've never been to the Caribbean." So
Right.
this guy was looking like he was hearing with his eyes.
That's huge. Yeah.
Wow. Say that again.
He was hearing with his eyes.
Yeah.
Like that's not right. You shouldn't do that.
Right.
I suppose another incident that just like totally shook me to my core
Wow.
was this year. I was also going to band. I don't know what's up with band.
Yeah.
And there's a homeless guy who's outside the doors to go into the building. And so I'm like hurrying on my way, trying to not be late. And he asks me, "Do you have any change?" And I said, "Sorry, not this time." And he calls me the N-word because I didn't give him money.
Right.
And then I just had to go into my band of majority white people
Right.
and sit there and play my music and pretend like nothing's wrong because they're not going to understand, you know, if I come
Right.
out and be like, "Excuse me, we need to stop and just deal with this for a second." No.
So let's take some time, reflect, have some conversation right now, and see what God's going to do in your life. Okay. We'll see you soon.